I'm Sid, and these are my best friends. My mom, Kim, my dad, Ty, my sister, Maddie, and our salty dog, Stella. We started our adventure refitting a Lagoon 450 before taking on the massive project of resurrecting a sunken 2021 Leopard 50. It's been one heck of a ride, but we're on this adventure to die with memories, not dreams, and live dauntless.
If you remember from back when we got the boat, all of the floor panels in the salon and hallway floated away in the accident, so we need to make new ones.
All right, guys, what we have done is gotten smart and started to put everything up on the sawhorses. But we started off this morning with 3 sheets of 12 mil ply on the floor. And then we laid out, of course, we rolled out all of the, what's that called? Contact cement on both sides. Then, of course, we stacked them on top of one another, and then we used a triple roller that's on, that you can put your hand pressure down. You'll see us do it here in just a minute. And you press that down to get all the air bubbles out and get good solid contact. So now what we've done is we've gone back and sanded all 3 sheets of plywood because we were getting some slight imperfections in the black veneer that was at the bottom, and we've sanded all that out. And then what we've done is we've vacuumed it, tack clothed everything down, and now we're getting to roll the contact cement and put the top layer on, which is the actual floor color in the boat. So here we go.
The first layer of glue really absorbs into the materials, so we need to do 2 layers of glue.
All right, one side down. I don't know. I'm gonna try to shine this over here so you guys can see. Wait, Frank. Hey, everybody. That's Frank. Frank, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
He's here to help because I can't be unsupervised. Okay, another thing that we've discovered is this shit dries really fast. So if you guys ever played with this in school, you paint it on the palm of your hand, it dries, then you peel it off and makes little yellow boogers. It flashes off very, very quickly. Yes, we have great ventilation in here, so that's why we're not wearing masks. We're okay. But we have to keep this full and keep the actual rollers inside and submerged in the contact cement, because as we wait between individual sheets, what ends up happening is all this shit dries, then we have to waste it and throw it away, and we can't use it again. So if you keep it full, keep this wet or wrap it in plastic, something like that, then you'll be able to go from one project to another if you're doing a lot of sheets like we are, and well, you won't be wasting material and time.
I don't think you can.
Okay, so now we have contact cement on both surfaces. That stuff has to dry, so it cannot be wet. And if you push your finger on it, it cannot string up on you. So what you're waiting for on contact cement is for all of the solvent basically to dry out, and it leaves a very, very sticky layer that will attract dust and some other things, which is the reason why we're working up off the ground. But it sticks to nothing better than itself. So the reason both sides get dry is when you touch them together, it doesn't move. And you better be damn sure that you have it lined up exactly where you want it before you apply any type of pressure. And it is slightly pressure sensitive, as Frank has discovered that you can't readjust it once you do that. So what you're seeing Frank do is we've got garden stakes. Now those garden stakes are the green fiberglass rods that you stuff down in a tomato plant and tie it up to keep your plants from falling over. The reason we use those is because, well, they're fiberglass or plastic or whatever they are, and they don't absorb any of this solvent or any of the glue. So when we put them on the dried or nearly dried contact cement, it's not absorbing or sticking. And we just bought those in a 4-pack. I think they were, what do those things cost? Like
$9.
$9 for a 4-pack. So they're pretty cheap. We did 12, so everything's about 9 inches apart all the way across. And then that allows us to put the sheet on top of the piece of plywood, the laminate sheet, and then we can slide it around until we get it completely squared. And then what we'll do is you'll see one of us pull out the rods while the other uses the roller to push down and activate that pressure sensitive adhesion. But that was long-winded. Sorry. We'll do that now. That worked out really well, Frank.
Oh yeah.
Now, technically we could go and cut this today, but what I'm gonna do is we're gonna leave them overnight flat on the ground. So after we're done working at this level, we're gonna put them on the concrete, lay it flat, put some weight on it, and everything's gonna set and cure overnight, and we're gonna let it sit for a good 12 to 15 hours before we come back. All right, so let's come back to this. I don't know if you can see this in here, but there's just a couple little strings right at the top. You see that? That's just where the top of this was sticking out of this big swimming pool full of glue. That's why we want to keep it in there. Otherwise, this would be a mess and we'd be starting all over from scratch again.
Now we just need to repeat the process 2 more times.
All right, before my battery dies, I've got something really cool to show you. We'll call it a pro tip. So when you're using rollers and they're covered with urethane, glue, gross stuff, what have you, and you need to get them off the actual frame. I'm not going to keep this. Actually, I'll probably keep that because Kim likes peeling all that stuff out. But when you need to get your frame, we need to get the roller off the frame, and then I grab that and my hand's gonna get covered with glue. So check this out. You ready? Whoop. There it goes. Instant replay. Whoop. And that's it. That's how you get a roller clean, or get a roller removed without getting your hands dirty. All right, battery's gonna die. It's getting dark. We've got one more to go, and then it is again beer 30, and we're hungry. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, so yesterday we worked a few kinks out with cutting the panels. I did make some mistakes, like I cut a couple panels the wrong grain direction, and it had been a minute since I had used this tool. This tool has made an appearance before, but I don't think that I really talked about it that much, and it warrants talking about, because this thing is freaking cool. It is a handheld CNC machine. Now, I have bought this tool with my own money. There's no sponsorship from the company or anything like that. I just thought it was really, really awesome. And when I needed to cut the new floor panels in for the boat, I looked at the cost of getting that done by a company and have them CNC it, and I thought, what it's going to cost me, I'm almost halfway towards buying this cool tool. So basically what it is a router that has a LiDAR scanner and cameras in it, and it scans an area, and using the camera with some marking tape, it knows exactly where it is and allows you to cut precision to the 1,000th of an inch. It is super cool. So you're going to see us setting up and preparing for this and doing some computer work, and we're going to take these files that I've got from the factory, dropping them into the tool, and, well, cutting all of our floor panels so we can actually walk through the boat without almost falling into holes. All right. Are you excited, Maddie? All right, so what we're doing is I'm applying this tape. These come in 150-foot rolls, and this is called domino tape, or marking tape. Each one of these dominoes has a unique, different pattern to it. So as you lay them out, the camera sees multiple layers and uses the cameras and LiDAR scanners to know how far it is away from everything, which allows it to pinpoint where it's at. So while you're cutting, this tape has to be visible within the camera's range to know where it's at. If it's not, it'll stop cutting. But this is so freaking cool, guys. Is this a must-have tool for a boat? Probably not. Is it a must-have tool for a boat refit project? Absolutely. I'm going to be doing this, cutting a helm panel, potentially doing our electrical panels, maybe some cool logo inlay stuff. We'll see what happens. But what you're going to see me do is apply this stuff down on the table, about 4 to 6 inches apart, just so I make sure I've got enough visual tape so that the machine can see where it's at. Also, when you lay this down, you've got to make sure that the whole domino is seen. If you tear this halfway and the camera sees this, it will not recognize this tape. It'll only recognize actual full pieces. And those seams are in today. It'll only recognize the full piece. Say it again. Okay, so let's talk about cost. Tape comes in a roll like this. It's 150 feet long. They claim that it does about 1 to 1.5 sheets of plywood, 4x8. So it is a consumable, and when I first bought the Shaper, it was about $18 a roll. Now it's $22 a roll. So you do have to keep that in mind. You're going to be spending, I don't know what the math is on that, about $14 bucks per sheet of plywood if you're trying to cut the entire sheet of plywood. Now what's interesting is you can actually take this tape and put it on a piece of like 1/2-inch plywood and then cover it with an epoxy, and you can scan it. And if you're cutting a 1/2-inch piece that's in front, you can actually just butt your workpiece up to the Shaper piece, strap everything down or clamp everything down, and then as you're cutting under the tool, it knows where it is on this side. It's using the reference marks on the reusable piece. So you don't have to completely use this every single time. When you're cutting big sheets like this, you just kind of need to realize that, well, you're gonna have to spend money on the tape. That kind of seems expensive, but then if you look at it and think, I'm operating a CNC, a computer numerically controlled router, to produce perfect panels that exactly fit into the space in my boat without having to measure, make templates, wasting material. It's actually a pretty freaking sweet deal. But anyway, enough of my rant. I'm now going to scan it. And you scan or basically take a big video picture of it, and then it compiles it together into one workspace that allows you to place your images inside of it. So come over here, check this out. Alright, so what you're seeing here is a bunch of these little snapshots. And as I drag this around, you're going to see it taking all these little pictures. And what I'm trying to do is scan over the entire area, and it's a black and white image is what you see at first. And the reason they do that is the dominoes turn blue once you scan over top of them. Alright, so you can see all of these individual scans and how clear that's going to come out. But all the little tape lines are blue, which means that I've got a complete scan except for that domino right there in the corner. So I'm going to go over like this, and I'm going to scan that section. And now, once I'm done, I'm going to hit the finish button. And it's going to take a few minutes. But what it will do is stitch this entire workspace together and make one It'll stitch the entire workspace together and make one smooth surface. Now it's got a picture of the workspace that I'm working in, and it now gives me a view of right below the bit, even though there's no camera below the bit, so I can see exactly where I'm going to work. It's pretty freaking cool. All right, while everything loads up, I want to point out that this product is actually the communication between the design software and the computer is actually, or the tool is actually web-based. So all of your stuff is stored on the cloud. So as you're working on something, it's constantly auto-saving. We have our Starlink that is for the boat, but it's just out here in the backyard that I'm using the Wi-Fi network. So the tool and my laptop are all on the same network. So as I update something on the laptop, I can then update it on the tool and just pull everything out of the cloud. So if you're sailing, Starlink, or make sure you got connectivity. It's not huge files back and forth, so it doesn't take a lot of data, but it will take some data to be able to make that happen. All right, so now I've got the work surface clean. I've got it taped, scanned. I've uploaded my image, and the panels that I'm cutting right now are going to be the two big panels that go in front of the galley. They're huge. They're like 39 by 33 or something like that. So I've got a little bit of reach to do, but I'm going to cut that. The bit I'm using is going to be a 1/4 inch diameter bit, and this is important because you don't want to go deeper when you're plunging in and doing routing than the diameter of the bit. So you could theoretically go up to a 1/4 inch deep per pass, but what I'm going to do instead is just to go a little less than that. I'm going to take 3 cuts to go around the perimeter, and I'm going to offset the bit out just a little bit, 1/100 of an inch or something like that. Then when I get all the way to the bottom and I cut through the bottom layer, I'm going to remove that offset and cut right to the line, and then cut through the bottom and finish the panel. That's going to leave me with a perfectly square panel that's cut exactly to the dimension that the file has. Now the edges are going to be sharp, so I'm going to have to break over those edges so that you don't cut yourself, because laminate is very, very sharp on those sharp corners. And softening that edge will also prevent it from chipping later. So here we go. Alright, come on, I'm gonna show you. This is way cool. So, this is the cut that the machine has guided me through. Look how sharp those corners are. So what's happening is that as I'm following, I'll see if this line right here, you see how there's a little crosshair. I'm following the line, and this router on this spindle inside of here moves around to compensate for my error. So I just need to get within 5/8 of an inch of where their center is at, and if I'm at 5/8 of an inch, it'll actually compensate with slow, steady movement. It'll modify that so I get a perfectly straight line, and no template required, and no monster $20,000 CNC you need to purchase. And you can take it anywhere, and you can use it on any size like work surface that you want. You can do a whole gym floor if you wanted to. It's actually pretty cool stuff. All right, no more gushing. I'm gonna get back to cutting.
Once the panels are cut, the edges need to be sanded nice and smooth. After just a few hours of cutting, we have new floors that are marvelous. Now we have a safer workspace as we move on to our next project. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you'd like to see more in-depth content, consider joining our Patreon. See you next week.